Hey guys, welcome back to Rossoneri TV. I'm Gio and I'm with Adamo for the post-match discussion following AC Milan's another loss against Fiorentina, this time 2-1 at the Artemio Franchi. Milan get the lead through Mattia Destro in the second half. Of course, a lucky rebound of Bonaventura's initial shot. And everything was going fine until the very last 10 minutes where Fiorentina actually scored twice through Rodriguez and Joaquin. 2 goals in 6 minutes, which really broke Milan's hearts and all the fans' hearts once again. 2 goals in the 83rd and 89th. So really an incredible match altogether. I think Milan could have really closed this game as well as in the first half. They had some very good chances themselves. Fiorentina as well, but really they don't capitalize as much, Milan. And once again, we mentioned it through the match preview, the pre-match hangout. If you don't capitalize on the chances Fiorentina gives you, you won't get very far. And today was the exact case. We did capitalize on that one chance, but Fiorentina just punished us in the last few minutes. Adamo, what was your impression on the match, and more specifically, those last 10 minutes?
Well, the first couple 10, 20 minutes, everything was going okay. Got to the second half, still okay. Milan got a goal. We looked more solid than in previous matches. Still a bit shaky. But after we scored the goal, I don't know why Inzaghi did not learn from his mistakes, but he decided to sit back once again with practically 10 men behind the ball, with Destro sitting up top, so I guess 9 men behind the ball. And it was like we were waiting for Fiorentina to score, pretty much gifting them the opportunities. Overall, before those last couple minutes, we were actually defending pretty decently. Paletta was actually amazing today. But in those last couple minutes, we lost concentration once again, much like against Hellas Verona, where we conceded in the dying hours of the match. Except with Fiorentina, they scored 2 pretty good goals, to be fair to them. Joaquin with a fantastic cross on the first one, and then he got a header on the second. So overall, Joaquin made a great impact for Fiorentina. You have to give full credit to them because they did well to take their opportunities, which is exactly what Milan could not do.
Now, Milan, and of course Inzaghi more specifically, he's a man without any experience, really. Of course, this season he was brought in with really a team to work with, but not any specific details, not any specific man that could really turn this team around from black to white, if you want to put it that scenario. However, we have to kind of admit he's a bit hard-headed. After witnessing and experiencing scenarios where we dropped leads, where we really gave away leads, and I'm speaking about matches such as the one against Torino, Hellas Verona, Fiorentina today, just to name a few. I'm pretty sure there's others in there. I just can't count them all off the top of my head, but just to name a few guys, I mean, you can blame experience all you want, but to be hard-headed and to continue with the same philosophy, the same tactics, the same everything, you kind of have to literally, how can I say it, criticize him a bit, because it's just ridiculous that you keep repeating the same mistake over and over again. What's your take on that?
No, you have it exactly right. I mean, we can start off by saying, and I always say it on Twitter and such, all social media outlets, that, it is Inzaghi's fault that all this is happening, but you can't really blame him in the sense that he didn't really get to choose to be hired. Like, Milan went to him, a coach with no experience, coaching the Primavera, already a solid enough team, so you can't really judge him off that. Fresh off the Primavera, goes into Milan, the biggest mess in the world. I honestly have no idea how Seedorf came straight from playing to Milan into this mess, because it was ridiculous, because now Inzaghi's in here and you can see really how good Seedorf probably was. He may be a great coach in the future. Hopefully the wounds are mended between him and Milan, but to do what he did with Milan and the mess that we're in is pretty impressive. Overall with Inzaghi, you can say again, he lacks experience and you can't really blame him. And also some people are saying that, well, why did he take the job? Why didn't he just say, well, if Milan came to me, I swear to you, there's no hesitation that I would take the job, even though I know I would not do a good job, especially with the paycheck that Inzaghi gets. But also, as you said, either way, it's odd that us fans can see, although it's from the outside still, how hard-headed Inzaghi is, that he sticks with the same tactics, goes straight to defending, even worse than Mourinho at Chelsea, because at least they get the job done. Milan cannot do it at all. So Inzaghi needs criticism, despite whether or not he has the excuse of, it's not really his fault, he got thrown into it, because even a rookie manager would know not to stick with the same tactics, the same lineups, the same whatever you want to say after such poor performances.
Yeah, and honestly, on that point there where you said you wouldn't even take the job, maybe before the match there when we were speaking to Montel, it was actually considering the fact that if he becomes a Milan coach, as the reports are saying, as the rumors are suggesting, it won't be an easy task at all, and there's much more work behind it than it actually really seems. But today, all in all, guys, Milan didn't play that bad of a match. I have to say, especially the first half. We played good. We had some good chances. The defending was on point. I have to give praise to Paletta and Abate that came back after at least 2 months away from injury there. And he actually had a pretty decent matchup himself today, shielding the ball very well, making some smart decisions. And honestly, the presence in the midfield, okay, you can blame it a bit, but it wasn't that bad with Van Ginkel. I saw even Estienne maybe do a bit more than he was doing in previous matches. Van Ginkel actually, as I said, surprised me. Bonaventura provided a bit. It wasn't a bad matchup, but once again, the main problem is that Milan doesn't play for the full 90 minutes. They play for 80 minutes and then relax. It's like saying, okay, guys, we've got the lead. Now come at us and test us. Put us on the paper and see if we could defend our lead for the 10-15 minutes that remain. And it just doesn't work like that, especially against top teams like Fiorentina. We've seen it this season. It just doesn't work like that. You can defend 10-15 minutes against these guys because they're going to come full out. They're going to come at full force at you. And they're going to create more chances by you sitting back. And that's exactly, once again, the case that we saw today. And conceded another 2 goals in the 80th minutes. So, once again, guys, what else to say? Embarrassing to drop more points like this. Expected. Me and Adamo said we were going to lose this match without any shame. And we did, because that's exactly the scenario that we see week in and week out. And for Europa League, this ends it, guys. This is over. It ends today, really, because now we are at least 9-10 points away from the final spot. And Fiorentina obviously fully deserved of what they do. They didn't, even on the 1-1 draw, they didn't just stop there and pretend as if a tie would have been good with them. Instead, they pushed, they believed in themselves, and got that winner in the final minutes. Some final words, Adamo? Maybe on some player performances that you enjoyed today?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, Paletta, fantastic game for him. The legendary horseshoe hero, as I like to call him, with the lovely haircut he has. But overall, as you said, it was actually a pretty good performance by Milan, except in those dying embers, as I mentioned again earlier, that I don't understand what the logic is in getting a 1-0 lead. Even 2-0, I wouldn't be happy with just sitting back and accepting. But 1-0 lead, you sit back and just take it. And as well as you mentioned, Fiorentina, good on them for not only getting the draw, but going for it even further and getting the win, pushing on their chances for reaching that last Champions League spot, which should be an interesting race in the Serie A nonetheless. As usual, Juventus taking the first spot almost all the time, with the Roma choking, I guess you could say. But just Milan, it's a very, very weird situation. I enjoy watching the matches. I'm always going to be a Milan fan, but it's so it's like it's a chore now. Okay, now I got to go watch Milan. It's not something that you really enjoy doing. Yeah.
Well said, well said. That's exactly how I feel, and I think many fans feel at this given time for Milan, because obviously we're always going to be watching the matches, we're always going to be doing the videos based on the matches, but it's just frustrating, guys. I mean, yeah, it could happen once or twice, but on a repetitive basis like this, it just doesn't make any sense at all. I mean, they're not amateurs. They should learn from these mistakes. I mean, once or twice you could understand, but it's becoming really a habit here for Milan on a consistent basis. Enough, guys. It's bullshit. That's all I have to say, really. On that note, guys, don't forget to subscribe to Rossoneri TV to stay updated with our latest videos, everything on AC Milan. And of course, we'll see you next week for Milan's next game. So be sure to stay connected to the channel. Don't forget to subscribe. And thank you for watching. This has been Gio and Adamo signing off, and as usual, Forza Milan.